I'm Patricia Hurt, publisher of the Mountain Chronicle. For the last 10 years, we've watched and covered a lot of city council meetings. I've seen you and long-term officials alike make major decisions without training, without preparation, and without demonstrating the level of responsibility this position calls for. That's why we are doing a few videos. We have put together a brief overview of the facts, the rules, and the resources all in one place. Because this job isn't ceremonial, it's demanding, it's technical, and it carries legal responsibilities and consequences. Serving on a city council is serious work. And if you decide to run for this office or any elected position, you owe it to the people who voted for you to do the very best job you can. In this first video, we're going to cover where Texas city council members and mayors can get training, where they can get reliable answers, and how the public can verify required open government training. The first and most important resource is the Texas Municipal League, usually called TML. TML has been serving Texas cities since 1913. It exists to support city government with training, publication, and legal information. If you serve in city government, single best starting point is TML's Handbook for Mayors and Council Members. It's a practical guide that covers meeting procedures, budgeting, ethics, conflict of interests, and the day-to-day realities of city governance. And it's available online for anybody to read. If your city is a TML member city, it also has a legal services department that city officials can contact for general legal guidance on municipal issues. The most common contact method is email to legalinfo@tml.org, or their main phone number is 512-231-7400. And one important note to remember, TML's legal staff provides general guidance. They do not replace your city attorney, and they do not represent your city in court. But for day-to-day questions, this is one of the most widely used resources in Texas. Now, let's talk about training that is not optional. Texas law requires training for members of a governmental body under the Texas Open Meetings Act and the Texas Public Information Act. Under the Open Meetings Act, elected or appointed members must complete training no later than the 90th day after taking the oath of office or assuming their duties. Under the Public Information Act, the requirement is similar. Training no later than the 90th day after taking the oath of office or assuming duties. The Texas Attorney General's office provides the official training material for both. And here's a detail most people often assume is handled by the city. State law does not assign one specific city hall job title that is responsible for training the mayor or council. In practice, many cities do an orientation, often through the city secretary, administrator, the city attorney, or other experienced council members. But the legal responsibility to complete required training still rests on each individual official. It would probably be a good idea for all cities to have a welcome to the council packet to hand to the newly elected or appointed members with the materials they need in order to help them do a good job. But regardless on how or who runs the city offices, ultimately, it is the elected official's responsibility to know their job duties as a city council member. And here's a transparency tip for citizens. Texas law requires the governmental body to keep records showing members completed the required Open Meetings Act training and to make those records available to the public for inspection. The same is true for the Public Information Act training requirement. So, if you're a citizen and you want to verify whether your mayor or council members completed the required training, you can submit a Public Information Act request to the city. In many small Texas cities, that request goes to the city secretary or administrator, or whoever the city has designated as its public information officer. You do not have to explain why you want the records. You simply request them in writing, and they are not supposed to ask why you want the records either. And a hot tip, write down the date and time that you turn it in, take a picture, keep a copy. That's important. Here is a simple example that you can adapt. Please provide copies of any certificates or training completion records and any Public Information Act training certificates or training completion records for the mayor and city council members for the current term. What about ethics training? At the state level, Texas does not have a blanket statewide requirement that mayors and city council members take a separate ethics training class, the way it does for the Open Meetings and Public Information Act training, although they should if they truly care about helping officials do their job correctly. But that would make too much sense, and we all know that if it makes sense, then it's probably not the government's way. But regardless, ethics laws still apply. City officials still have to follow conflict of interest rules, disclosure requirements where applicable, and criminal laws related to bribery, misuse of public resources, and abuse of office. That's why ethics training is one of those do it now so you never have to explain it later situations. TML offers ethics resources and training, and the Texas Ethics Commission also provides training material and webinars. And finally, some cities adopt their own local ethics codes or ordinances, which can add rules beyond state law. Hot tip. If you're a council member and your city does not already have their own local ethics codes, this would be the perfect time to show the citizens that put you in that chair you care about doing a good job and get those ordinances passed. If you serve on a city council, here are key documents you should have access to. The Texas Constitution, Article 11 covers municipalities. The Texas Local Government Code, especially the chapters that apply to your city type, the Texas Election Code, the city's Code of Ordinances, your city's adopted budget and financial reports. You can access most of those documents through a quick online search, but just in case, we will link them below. For elections, filing dates, vacancies, and procedures, the Texas Secretary of State Election Division is a primary resource. There are national organizations with useful training and research, including the National League of Cities, the International City-County Management Association, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Serving your community as an elected official is important work. It comes with legal obligations and responsibilities that require education. But it takes your own initiative to make sure you get that training and education, not the city administrator. And if you're a citizen, remember you have the right to know what your city is doing and the right to ask questions when things don't add up. This is Patricia Hurt, publisher of the Mountain Chronicle. Thank you for letting us earn your trust.